Yes, Priya.
Yeah. So hello everyone. A very good afternoon. This is Priya Singh from Placement Committee. And yeah, so let's get started with the event. We are extremely pleased to welcome our distinguished panelists, professors and students of core management, of core MBA, tourism and hospitality management and PhD. We are delighted to announce the first edition of IIM Sirmaur's leadership webinar series, Jivatva 1.0, jointly organized by the Industrial Relations Committee and the Placement Committee. The conference is going to be held with business leaders and industry professionals who will share their experience and expertise with aspiring managers like the budding management students and the leaders present here, whilst engaging in thought-provoking conversations. It is our sincere pleasure to invite you all to the webinar series. The theme of the series is Leadership in Disruptive Times. Now I would request Professor Dr. Bhavin Kumar Shah, Assistant Professor in the area of Operations and Supply Chain Management at IIM Sirmaur, to give the inaugural note. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Priya. So, very good evening to all, one and all present. I welcome you all for this first edition of Jivatva webinar. We are today together to talk on the theme of leadership in disruptive times, right? We are expecting to have a presence of our director, Professor Nilu Rohmetra, but due to some unavoidable circumstances, she is not able to attend the same. So, on behalf of IIM Sirmaur and Placement Cell, I, Bhavin Shah, welcomes you all again, and I take this opportunity to open this event. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our today's panel members. So let us start our today's panel discussion without wasting time. I would like to introduce our moderator for today. So we have Ayushi Agarwal. With a background of software engineer and more than 10 years of experience, Ayushi is associated at Skiify in the capacity of Chief Operating Officer. Recently, Ayushi has also participated and moderated several sessions and such talks at different premier institutes like IIM Nagpur and Bodh Gaya. I welcome you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Bhavan.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Moving ahead, we have today's first speaker available with us, Mr. Rahul Lakhmani. Mr. Rahul is an entrepreneurship professional and graduated from IIT Bombay. He is a founder of Skiify Solutions Private Limited. Rahul has more than 10 years of experience in the administration and management of IT organization. He is actively involved in India's startup mission and other entrepreneurship programs as well, right? So I welcome you, Rahul.
Thank you, Mr. Bhavin.
Thank you, thank you. Moving ahead, we have Vijayabaskar RJ sir as our second speaker. So he has an educational background and experience in the core area of HR and allied practices. He is a global fellow of Wharton Business School in the area of talent management. He holds master degree in social works from Madras University, and he is also pursuing PhD from IIT Madras. So with more than 20 years of experience in the area of HR, Mr. Vijayabaskar has served in almost all the managerial capacities to various giant industries such as Reliance, Hinduja, and others. Presently, he is serving as an associate VP for the HR function of Rane Group. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Delighted to be part of it.
Yeah, thanks. So moving at our last speaker, Dr. Guruprasad sir, with a blended professional experience and a career in both academics and industry over 30 years. He is currently directing and mentoring the Imaginarium India Private Limited company. He is master and PhD from IIC Bangalore and IIT Mumbai respectively. Dr. Guruprasad served as Crompton Reeves and many other companies like Titan and with a focus on product and jewelry design. He has also served to IIT Bombay over a decade as a design researcher, and his expertise in 3D printing and its application to healthcare, business operation strategy, and product marketing. Dr. Guruprasad sir, I welcome you.
Thank you very much. It will be my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So I would request our moderator for today, Ayushi, to take over today's panel discussion, and hope we have a fruitful panel discussion ahead. Over to you, Ayushi. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhavan. Good evening, everyone. I, Ayushi Agarwal, will be moderating today's panel discussion on leadership in disruptive times. We have along with us Mr. Rahul Lakhmani, Dr. Guruprasad Rao, and Mr. Vijayabaskar, who will be sharing their industrial experience and the challenges they have been facing in the current scenarios, and how they have means they have adopted to overcome those challenges. Personally, I have faced lots of challenges while hiring this year from different B schools. As far as my experience is concerned, I have been hiring from different IITs and IIMs from past 8 to 9 years. And we all were doing this in a very conventional manner. But this year, since everything being virtual, it was a bit difficult for us to find the right candidates. But apart from that, it was very difficult. It is a good point since so. But on the other hand, we have found a beautiful opportunity to hire from different colleges and different and hire more number of candidates, since it was not possible due to time and travel constraint. In the meantime, we have also gained many skills which have helped us in doing this online interviews. Moving forward with the panel discussion, I will request Mr. Rahul Lakhmani to share his views on what does it take to lead through an era of exponential changes. So over to Mr. Rahul Lakhmani. Please share your views.
Thank you, Ms. Ayushi. So I want to start with a short and inspiring story. When I was in my high school, there was a story in my curriculum. The title was My Struggle for an Education, and it was written by Booker T. Washington. So in this story, the author has described about the struggle he faced while getting himself admitted to the school. At that time, there was so many racial things are going on at that geographical location, and the blacks were not entitled to being admitted in any colleges or schools at that time. So in that particular time, Booker T. Washington, the author, has showed his mental strength and the persistence to and he has also changed and the moving account of the difficulties he has faced to find a place in a school. At the age of 16, he had to face lots of trouble and hardships in order to get admission in school. Racial discrimination was prevalent and blacks were not given the right to education at all. And Mr. Washington makes a tremendous effort to prove to the administration to the school that the color of his skin is no way determines the lack of capabilities. So in that very essay or story, you can say I have read a line that was a sweet are the uses of adversity. Later I come to know that sweet are the uses of adversity was a famous Shakespearean proverb. So this proverb challenges the fear of a common man who falls on a difficult days. Usually people prefer prosperity to adversity anytime. But what I have seen in my life, from that day onwards, my life has changed a lot. And every time there were so many conditions we have seen that were not seen before. So in this particular era, what we are going through, the COVID-19 era, we have seen many sub situations, many new situations which we haven't expected previously at all. There are many industrial and business things that we can consider right now, and we'll discuss this on in throughout this talk. But the one of the important thing that I'm going to tell you is the mental strength in finding the way through the hardships, and how we are going to tackle the new challenges that are upon us. And also one of the important thing is never expect something. If you are expect something to be in a one order, it will always be difficult to get your way if you are getting something which is different from your expectations. And the second thing is, in case you are getting something in, just be ready to adopt. This is a common scenario in life. This is a common scenario in all the businesses also. So that is the same thing we have done in all our lives and in this COVID era also. Moving forward, Mr. Rao, can you please take your views on that? Mr. Rao, you are not audible.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul,
Thank you.
for passing the baton there. Ayushi, and thanks for a very generous introduction there by Professor Bhavin Shah. And well, I think today we are in a kind of unprecedented time, which nobody expected, that we are going to be in such a situation. Probably, it is something like probably people say it occurs every 100 years. They are seeing already some kind of a trend. So sometimes it always gives you a strength that, oh, people have coped 100 years back in 1920. We'll also, cope with this, in 2020, 21. People, in fact, have extrapolated and found even 200 years back also there was some crisis, the Spanish flu and all that. And they have found that the mankind have always come back, with more rigor, and with all the world wars and whatnot you have, the crisis, the great crisis, financial crisis, which world underwent. Uh, I think we are going to cope up with this again, come out victorious. Hope is very, very important. If you don't have anything, hope is very important. Dhairya Lakshmi, what you call, is very, very important. And as Rahul put it, we should not expect, because expectations will actually lead you to unhappiness if it is not met. Okay. But it is very easily said than done. All of us have expectations. And as budding, professionals getting trained, you're all ready to give your best to the organizations. So I think it is very important. It is a kind of a pause we are going through. Enjoy the pause. I will say that. Enjoy the pause, and that is the time, to cope up with a very good positive attitude. If at all, I'm sure, many of you have got placed already, and it may be that you'll be called little later, but I think you should wait for that. In the meanwhile, you should not lose heart, but equip yourself, keep your cutting edge sharper by getting yourself involved in some kind of activity to maintain the positivity. That's very important at this point of time. With this, I would like to pass on the baton to Ayushi. Back.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. And I would request Mr. Vijayabaskar to share his views on the same. Mr. Vijayabaskar, you are not audible.
I'm sorry, I was in mute. You're able to hear me now?
Yes, thank you, Vijayabaskar.
Yeah, and thank you for, as Rao was saying, the nice introduction. So I was, when Priya was asking me to talk about this disruptive times, what leadership is doing during disruptive times, I just Googled it. What is disruptive? We all know it's more of plain English to say what is disruption. But I found some interesting, what I can say, meaning in talks about just causing disruption is disruptive, but an innovation, a groundbreaking is also an innovation, and it's more to talk. So disruptive need not be COVID. Disruptive need not be something really affecting our lives, but disruptive
Mr. Vijayabaskar, your voice is breaking sometimes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just try. You're able to hear me now?
Yes, we are able to hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel that disruption is more to talk on the side of positive things that it has happened so far in the world. Maybe you talk about an innovation which has been taken on technology, or innovation on in the side of what the consumer behaviors or the customers' requirements and wants, which has really changed the world to each and every disruptions that we have faced, and then we have come out of that. Yes, COVID is one such disruption which is really pulling us all down. Maybe we are going to face a lot of disruptions in the field. Maybe I was for the past 15 and a half years, I was with BFSI industry. I have seen a real disruption in the field of payments. Today, we all know what is a payment methodology that we all adopt. No one without a GPay or UPI transaction, today's life is not going to go, because that's a disruption. I would say that's a disruption that the market has done so far in the industry which I'm right now and maybe representing. It is more to talk about automation. The industry 4.0 is a big challenge that we are all going to face, and it is going to sustain. It is going to make us feel greatly complemented with the machines as well as human being. So we are going to coexist in a very near future. That's the take that I would say when we talk about disruption. But for all logics, there is an amount of a leadership that is required. What is that leadership? What is that is really going to be paining us in terms of, say, whether I do have an autocratic method of leadership, or to talk about whatever the types I don't want to touch upon, but the real human elements which are going to be really the change maker for a leader. And that's where I maybe my 21 years of 22 years of experience to talk about talent management is more aligned, where a talent management guy should be aligned to the business and need to know the business nuisance, so that he will be able to be making all these disruptions into a very innovative way, rather than to talk about on the flip side of it. Over to you, Ayushi.
Thank you, Mr. Vijayabaskar. It was nice
Yeah.
hearing of you. So this panel discussion mainly consists of students of MBA class of 2022 batch. So they are the worst affected batch because of COVID-19. So I would like to ask Mr. Rahul Lakhmani, what are your suggestions for the students now?
Yes, thank you, Ayushi. So yes, this is a very difficult time for basically the batch which consists of class of 2022. What they have seen, they have given their CAT in November of 2019, and they have got their results in around January. Everything was going on fine, and then after that they were preparing for their GDs and PIs, and suddenly the COVID-19 started. That was in 2020 Feb and March. Then they were unsure about how the GDs and PIs were going to conduct it. They were that all the GDs and PIs were online only, and obviously most of the candidates were not actually prepared for that scenario. Then they got admitted in different B schools like here in IIM Sirmaur, and from there onwards they are taking all the classes online. See, MBA is not only regarding the curriculum, course, and subjects that you are being taught in the college. MBA is also regarding the experience that you are going to face in the college, and that experience is going to mold you for your entire life. Actually, many of the guys are coming after 5 or 6 years of experience, or generally after 1 or 2 year of experience in their respective industries, and then they are coming to MBA to get some experience, get some knowledge, so that their leadership get going and they can switch their profiles also. And here what they are seeing is they are doing some type of online course that is seeming to me, and they also want to be on the campus for their all other activity. Work-life balance is very important after education, but work-life balance very important in education. In education, there's also a requirement of certain kind of activities that they are not getting to do right now. So the problem is that they are also not sure that till when this all is going to be happen, and almost 75% of their MBA is going to be online. In that case, and after all that, they are seeing there are many offers were revoked. The play offer, the final campus offers for from their senior batches, and their summers offers also were revoked. So that was very disheartening for overall MBA fraternity right now. So this in all these times, the beautiful thing was that they have acquired some new skills than previously they were not going to focus on. They are still getting their curriculum courses, they are still learning most of the things were supposed to do. Apart from that, they are getting some new skills like digital skills, some problem solving skills they are working on right now, other digital courses and finance certifications they are doing right now. And so right now, the first and foremost thing that they should think about is upskilling, and then if possible reskilling. I'm not going to focus because it is a entirely different thing. Whatever you are doing right now, you have to focus on something entirely different, and that is difficult to do for most of the people. But upskilling is the requirement of the time. In this particular time, you are having certain skills, but the competition is very much right now because of the lack of jobs right now, or you can say the cost cutting that different companies are going through right now, or the cash flow that they are not having. Certain sectors like automobiles are affected and all. So in this case, you just have to go to, like, marketing students are there right now, they have to focus on digital marketing and all, and they should also prepare for that hybrid work from home model, because whatever we are seeing right now is certain that it will go for few years, and hybrid work from home model is profitable for companies also. So we are going to carry it for the 2 to 3 years, and then we'll see in the future if it is very much profitable for us. So right now, uh, also the MBA class of 22 should work on their mental strength. They should be positive always, and they should think about adopting measures, and they should also learn about the new technology that are going on right now. And the emotional intelligence is also one of the things that we are looking forward to, since most of the things are virtual right now. So there will not be any physical interactions. You have to do all the meetings. MBA guys have to do all the meetings virtually. In that case, the role of emotional intelligence also higher a lot. Yeah. Dr. Rao, can you please elaborate on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Very nicely, Vijayabaskar sir has taught in Industry 4.0, which is something which has been, talked about for last 4 or 5 years now. Okay, it was actually in store a kind of bring in disruptions. A lot of job losses were expected because of the arrival of Industry 4.0 in all its full power. It is for the first time the automation is going to make all the middle management, disappear, because their job will be done by analytics, the sensors, the IoTs, the robots, and probably that was the same kind of fear the trade unions had when robots were introduced. But today, it is not so.
Correct.
Labor force was not displaced because the arrival of the robots. Robots have been always useful to us in a hazardous conditions, right? Human beings are always required in many areas. But in the Industry 4.0, the scenario is different. A lot of autonomous robots are going to come. They will decide just like a human being, many things. Okay. So the need for a shop supervisor would probably go off. It will not be there. So what are we going to do? So there is nothing to fear. We need to understand machine cannot do everything. A lot of creative ways which only humans can do. And that's where I think it's very important. The whole workforce should look at upskilling themselves.
Correct.
And it is a great opportunity, wherein they look for those, skills. In fact, as a part of many board of studies, for various institutions, we have been trying to do something called as future proofing of education, future proofing and industry ready. As and when there is a change in the market demand, uh, change is the only constant. So that way, it is very important for all of us to rescale reset and, unlearn and relearn, kind of cycle we need to go on. And if I look at our own organization, roughly about 70% of our workforce, they work from home today, and it is going to redefine the future factories, the future offices, the concept is going now, and I think it is very good because management was always looking at, leadership was always looking at, how do I make my people buy in the digital disruption, and thanks to COVID, there is a fast forward button pressed, and it has made us go through this, so in a way, it's good that whatever is happening, it is not a new normal. We are going to say never normal. Okay, we are entering a never normal, because it's that way, because we don't know the first wave, second wave, third wave, how many waves are there in store, we don't know. So only what is there. So we have to live present today, here and now. Enjoy your time and skill yourself, and skill with more and more non-contact technologies. Non-contact technologies are coming now. The cash becoming the digital cash, and transactions becoming more and more. Even human interactions, like what we see right now, is all going to be, like this, and it has its own merits. Enjoy the merits. I used to travel a lot, up country, down country, east, west, and all. Today, I'm able to cope. The beauty of leadership is to cope with the circumstances. Fear not, but cope. Convert the adversities into your advantage, opportunities, right? So when our people had a problem, when there was a lockdown, we conducted a lot of skilling programs for them.
Okay.
There was a skill mapping that was taken up, wonderfully. And that was a time we had, so much time that there is no pressure for having to, uh, keep a customer waiting. The load is less, and that's when we wanted to sharpen our knives, training people. Okay, identify gaps, and also do R&D, internal R&D. Lot of research programs got initiated during the pandemic, and so much so that we had a societal participation of the leadership was there, because the virtual platform, not one, the many multiples, so I think today we need to uh, ready ourselves to uh, continue with this new normal or the never normal, and learn the digital disruptions rules, and non-contact technologies, which are very important. And we are looking at automation, and which is luckily for us, no, Industry 4.0 is coming, to help us go for automation. But I go every day to my office, because that is the only way we can be, feel the solidarity with the so-called 30% of the people who come every day, and cater to those urgent things, because somebody has to come and press the button, otherwise it doesn't start. And I think that's very important, taking the precautions. And in the meanwhile, what we did was very important. We did a lot of face shields. We did a lot of hardware for medical. We did a lot of designing for medical fraternity, and the front, warriors, and that gave us so much of satisfaction. I'm not making profit during the lockdown, but at least I'm helping my fellow citizens to cope, especially the frontline warriors, and that's where, we need to continue doing this. Then there was a requirement of oxygen concentration, concentrators, and they wanted a particular hardware, and again our teams were ready to offer help. So that means we are always looking at how agile we are to cope up with the circumstances. I think it is not only for the industries. Industries have a big investment, capex, and so many things. But as students, as smart managers, you are getting ready to serve the same very unexpected, uncertain world. You should all be coping up with, this particular how to cope with the uh, uh, unexpected circumstances. I think that should go as a kind of a pedagogy in future learning also, coping up with the uncertainty, you know. And I think today digital media has largely helped us to forget about the classrooms, you know. So hybrid conferences are becoming hybrid, right? And I think we should not worry about anything, enjoy your present, and uh, be ready to join the whole movement, which is not just for you but for everyone in the world. I'll push it back to uh, Vijayabaskar sir.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Rao. Actually, I must tell you that most of the students here will be, I would say, hating about the online classes, the virtual classes, because they are actually not seeing, unlike our corporate life where we are interested with more like 8:30 p.m. in the night. Also, we do virtual meetings as such. To give a message to the young buddies, I would say maybe as Dr. Rao and Rahul was saying, it is more to talk about your preparation. You should be prepared. It is the new normal. Whatever the name nomenclature, what the world is talking about, that's normal. It's not specific to COVID, but it is normal as such. What I to say for example, what Dr. Rao was touching upon about the industry 4.0, we used to have internal meetings in our company. We used to talk about whether this industry 4.0 will what kind of operations that we are going to be manifesting, because we are representing an automobile company, and we manufacture most of the automobile parts which are required for the auto industry. So the entire IC engines, whatever the current requirement or the current automobile industry is running with the IC engines, maybe will be redundant in the next 20 years. That's the immediate call that they are talking about. And as many as 1,400 plus parts manufacturers will be at stake. They will be extinct. That means that doesn't mean that there is no scope for mechanical engineers. Mechanical engineers will exist, but they will exist in manifestation of different field. As he was talking about IoTs or AI, ML, or you talk about big data analytics, that's going to be the key future. And we are talking about Industry 5.0 to talk about how robots are going to be interacting with human beings. And it's all going to be reality in some days, meaning some years. Already the Western countries are all adopting Industry 4.0. We are just lagging actually, but we will be adopting. That's a disruption. That's obviously a disruption which we are going to face. And how we are going to be as leaders, we are going to take it up. That leadership sense is what we are, our lives are going to be as such in the future. So I'll tell students this is not going to be easy. You are going to be facing rough weather. This rough weather is not new. We all faced in our careers in a different form. We have faced a lot of offers would be coming. They'll be saying that you join maybe in 2 months later. Then again they will be saying 2 months later. All these are reality. We are going to face that reality, and we as industry people also face the same realities that we are coming across, because this disruption is making us a lot of thinking in a different way. What it constant to talk about is handling people, handling process, handling to the uncertainty of the industry. That is the one key that leadership skill is going to be more focused. And I represent HR, so I will always tell about how talent management is aligned to business is the key that any industry will be flourishing. Adoption to the new means logics, or whether it is COVID related protocol or it is going to be industry 4.0, adaptability is the key for us. Over to you, sir.
I want to add something to this. So, as you both have mentioned, the story regarding the student, how the students should focus right now and how the students should cope up with the situation. A very important point mentioned by Dr. Rao as well, that upskilling and reskilling is the requirement of the time. So I want to add a personal story to this. This can be motivating for the students. So in Feb 2020, I decided to work in the landscape photography. I decided to capture landscape photographs, and I bought a kit. I bought several cameras, few lenses. I thought that each and every month from Feb 2020 onwards, I'll go to two places and I'll capture landscapes. Then I went to Mumbai, Lonavala, and all in Feb. And then from March onwards, it was COVID. It was lockdown everywhere. So it was almost like we are losing out on something. And if you are knowing about camera lenses, they are being updated in every 3 months or 6 months and all. And if we are concerned about the investment, you are losing out on that also. See, I have invested more than 40-50 lakhs on camera equipments already. And if I'm not going to use it for next 6 months at least, they will be depreciated by at least 10 to 20%. That is a business point of thing. And the personal point of thing is, if I'm going to invest something in a hobby, I'm going to invest some time to my hobby for my mental health and all, I should do that. So at that particular time, what I have done, I went to my terrace and I started capturing birds. I had taken a telephoto lens out of my kit and started taking birds. And I am a lean and thin guy, so previously it was not possible for me to use a 3 kilogram of camera and lenses above my shoulder and focus on sky and capture some photographs, some bird photographs. And I never thought about it because I was not focusing on that at that point. At this particular point of time, I'm more focused toward the easier things to be done, in at least in my personal life. Fine. So I started doing bird photography. In Feb 2021, I've got several awards in nature and wildlife photography. So by this story, what I'm going to tell you there, I was unable to capture landscape photographs. That is a one thing. I started taking wildlife photographs. I've excelled in that. And then whenever all these things will be done, that COVID-19 things will improve, I can again start to landscape photography. So what you can do is, you guys might be having some plans right now, or you guys might be having some plans from past 1 year that you haven't been able to carry. Now, if you are unable to carry those plans, just start the other plans or alternate plans that you can do right now. I am giving it to in a simple context right now. It is the same as upskilling and reskilling. Just do the thing that you can do in the current era, and then whatever the points then on which you missed out, you can do it later on. The time is always there. The time was always there, and and you will be having a time again. For example, again in this Feb, I thought that this COVID wave is almost over, and we are not sure that again that next COVID wave is coming or something. So I started playing cricket. I got again got my instruments back, and I just stroked my bat and all. And then again COVID-19 second wave happened. So that is what I'm going to tell you. Don't think that it is the first and only time in your life that you are not going to get, or you are not going to see whatever you wanted to see or whatever you thought you will see. These times will come. Okay, I'm not sure that the magnitude will be same as we are facing it currently. It will be changed. And as far as the technologies are concerning right now, you can say that machine learning, AI, and blockchain technologies are the future. So if you can do something in, you can say, blockchain technology, or if you can do something in data analytics, that will keep you future enabled. So we have to, right now, if we are investing something in the technologies that we can use now and also after COVID, that will be the way forward. Yeah, Mrs. Ayushi Agarwal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul, and everyone. Your suggestions would be very valuable for the students. And I hope, Mr. Rahul, your story would be motivating for the students in the current scenario. So moving forward with the next next, I would like to know how has the whole disruption affected the way organization operate, and how has it challenged the leadership styles and decision making in your organization? So, Mr. Rahul, could you please share your views on that?
Yes, thank you. So, yes, work from home is one of the important changes that we have seen, and most of the companies now are going to now are going to follow that. And hybrid work from home is a model that we are going to have forward with. Hybrid work from home means as Dr. Rao also mentioned that the 70% of their workforce is going online and the 30% is in the premises. So we have to go through with this model only for at least couple of years from now, till couple of years, and then apart from then we have to go for the digitization, and the new technologies are very important. See, businesses are down, cutting costs are there, means we are cutting our costs to actually manage this storm that is going on, but looking out the technology that will be useful after the pandemic will be very useful. Over to Mr. Rao.
Thank you, Rahul. Well, I've been going forward with my thinking of filling these information before Ayushi was actually asking about it. Well, I think a very important thing here you should notice, when husband and wife both working, they spend working on work from home. Who will cook? Okay, bright young MBAs are here in front of us. The business of future czars, you know, you should think of such scenarios, you know, and Boyne's sir is also there. The scenario building for coping up with future, you know. So lot of food startups, can come up who can actually deliver a hygienic food, and the logistic involved, not just depending on the Swiggies and the what is that called as Zomato. We can have any a, a local player who could be very good because effective, because logistically he is in the load center. So if people can come closer, to make this happen, there will be a lot of transaction that can happen, because you see there'll be people, the sick and old, that they need food, you know and if
Correct.
the breadwinners are all working at home, they're unable to go, hotels are closed. How do they cope? you know Such opportunities, no, you should build scenarios and cash in on that, convert that into business model, validate. You will sure you will find the angel investors, and with your own bootstrapping you can start off, before you complete your MBA. You become an entrepreneur, you know on the job, and they continue, and you may get incubated in IIM, right? Wherever, you can get
Correct.
incubated there. That will be very nice. So I think, moving with what Rahul said, the workforce in future, because they are going to have this kind of distance working. Today, we are offering a lot of internships also. Right now, I have three IIT guys working with me. There is one School of Architecture and Planning, Madhya Pradesh, working with me remotely. You know, and the last season there were four students who worked on various projects, and these are collaborative projects. And it's a group project, wherein, since I'm a designer, I mentor designers from IDC, IIT Bombay, and there was a program which was called as collaborative design. And what could be the best time to test it than today? Collaborative designing, right? And so it is not about switching the timelines, Indians working in the morning and night, the day line, wherever it goes, they work. It is in the same city, people sitting in different corners, able to collaborate, and continue with their task, could be a very good thing. And I think all of you, I'm sure some of you would have got the internships already, and this is going to continue, even after you get hired, you know. And so this is one way, uh, other than getting to GD and getting into a placement, uh, interns getting converted into employees, future colleagues are very high nowadays,
Correct.
because it is like you already tried out both the sides, correct? No.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that's one more thing. So you should all rejoice, and this is not a take it to your advantage. Whatever you see, convert that into an advantage. That's very important, and I'm sure you will all be doing already. I'll push it back to Vijayabaskar sir.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Rao. Yeah, you're bang on. Whether it is an upskilling or not, I don't know. But I learned how to cook paneer tikka, and my wife likes it.
Great.
So it's unlike your industry, meaning maybe whether my past experience on BFSI, a specific rural finance company, which I was representing for the past 5.5 years, 6 years, and currently also I'm representing an auto industry, where the accepting the 60, 70 employees who are part of the corporate office doesn't have that luxury of going to be operating or delivering their work from a remote environment. They are necessitated to go to the field or to the plant, because the process industry works in that way, that that factory has to work and then human beings has to be there. And similarly in my previous organization, where we have to collect money, for that we need to be at the field. So my collection executives are sourcing guys who are part of the ecosystem, used to be going even during the COVID tiring times. So the challenges or the leadership challenges that we came across is a very entirely different ball game as such, because it is just not going virtual, it is going to manage them, whether they should not be contracting any COVID through the customers or they should not give it to the customers. Second, they should not be getting into problems because of not having social distancing or SOPs being not followed, and then they get with the government authorities. All these are the challenges that we were facing, maybe wave, during the first wave, the lockdowns and the unlocks, which when we are having. The one interesting point of what the disruption that gave us leeway to immediately change our lives better is to give a data point to say, earlier we were collecting at an efficiency of 100% from, say, we are a rural finance company, we go to the customer and collect the money back, meaning the EMIs are not as a check which is being paid, or the ECS which is getting drawn to you and me type of a customer. They are customers who have been paying through cash to the employees who represent us, and then do the electronic way of collecting that, meaning they collect the cash and then do the entry. There is a Bluetooth enabled printer, and then he used to give the receipt to the customer. They are all more technically illiterates in terms of maybe 99 plus and plus. So what we did, we used this technology to educate these customers. We ensured that these are collections which are really risky for you as well as for us. And then we motivated them to make it more digital. And technology helped us. People also, to them some extent, we came from April 2020 figure to now. When I was leaving the company, it was 45% on digital collections of our payments. It was a remarkable change which a leadership intervention can do. You adopted the disruptive tech has made some problems for us, but we are able to go in to ensure that we are seeing some more ways to ensure that our business is continued properly. So business continuity is there. Now we are at 45% on digital collections. So this is more to talk about an organization scenario that I want to talk about. I always see how people have really taken up that kind of disruption. So I used to have more of what I can say. I used to have a mentoring or more of I used to envy Prime Minister of Singapore. He was there for 50 years as Prime Minister, and he has entirely changed the country into a great country in the world now. How is it possible? If you read the history, you will be understanding the whether the style of leadership or to consciously. I don't want to talk about political problems and things like that, but the kind of leadership that he has exhibited and he took along the people along with him, made the progress for ever. A country can do that, yeah, an organization can do that, or a family can do that. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
Over
Mr.
to you.
Vijayabaskar. Thank you, Mr. Vijayabaskar. Since you are working on the automobile sector, which needed more innovative solutions, so could you please share your insight on the on some innovative solutions you have discovered to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, I immediately, it's a good question that I was about to say with an example of what we have done it to for our employees. In one of our division, which is more of occupant safety division of our Rane TRW steering systems, what we manufacture is the airbags. You might be knowing the airbags, the secondary resistant systems, which we manufacture in a plant near Chennai, where it's a more of a it's an assembly line where it is a structured line, automated line where an human intervention is obviously required because it's more of punching and then checking and things like that. So there are people in enormous, say for example, in a line that you can see somewhere around 200 employees who can be easily scanned. So what we did is more to talk about my engineering team came with an AI camera to ensure that who are all not putting a mask or a PPE, the camera will help us to get to a sensor, and the sensor will give an alarm, and then it will pinpoint the area where it has happened, and it will show the names and it will voice it out to say that Vijayabaskar, you are not wearing mask. So that's the adoption of technology that we have done. What Dr. Rao was saying, we literally adopted the technology to ensure that we are using the disruptive technology as such. But future is obviously to be on big data analytics, IoTs, and cloud computing. We are in many ways we are working out. Being an engineering company, we are proud runners to that.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar. It was really nice to know these solutions that you have adopted. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Rahul, what organizational changes do you think will sustain, and what do you think will be over once the world overcomes the current health crisis?
Yes, so as I told earlier, the business travel will be less and more deals will be done through video conferencing in the future also. So work from home will still be a part of it, and the extent of it will come down over time. One of the important thing I've seen while hiring is previously when we are going to hire, yes, the hiring was very simple. All the traditional methods we were using, but in this time at this time when we have faced many new difficulties, there were many new positives that we have got. Earlier we mostly we concentrated on the candidates that were going to join on the specific locations. In this particular year we have got many candidates who were from the remote locations and that were joining our offices in Delhi or Mumbai virtually. This is something new to the industry. Earlier, the joining location and the physical offices were one of the important things what when employees were choosing the company they are going to work in. But right now, the people, someone who is working in, you can say, Himachal Pradesh and who wants to work nearby his house or native area, so say in NCR. Right now, he or she is also able to join the office which is currently located in Chennai or Bangalore. This is a very new innovation that we have found right now. Apart from that, since we are in education sector also, so the examination methods are changed a lot. Earlier we were not sure that right now how can we get that physical examination feeling from the students, and how can we test them that whatever we are seeing right now, whatever responses we are getting right now are true or as per our requirements. But we have developed exam simulator using a AI, and in which the questions that were generated with the students are different all the time, and the tests were being, you can say it was a time test more. Or earlier it was more focused on the knowledge performance and all. Right now it is more based on the time test thing, that in lesser number of time you have to answer more number of questions, and this is just to eliminate the chances of any other security issues that we are unable to cooperate right now in our systems as far as the educations are concerning. We can move to Dr. Rao for his inputs.
Thank you, Rahul. That's very nice. You mentioned about how these examination things are changing. In fact, leadership is all about anticipating and future. You see the future before, anticipate all the time, you know, and that's the only way to mitigate risk. You know, even all the time risk is always there. It's a part of business plan. You have contingencies, you have buffers, and all those things are actually provided for in order to cope. And the product management as a subject, you all know there is a lot of buffers created in order to cope up with uncertainties. Okay. Probably for Imaginarium, we have seen that probably industry needs a kind of a cloud power, and we actually opened up a kind of research on cloud factory, and a concept of cloud factory about 4 years back, and it was tested, initially for B2B and occasionally B2C. Okay. And so much so we had even connected with Flipkart and all, just for live trials. And today I'm happy to say, when the pandemic struck us, if anybody calls us, they will say, don't call me, you have 24 hours, a portal ready for you. You can upload your files and ask us to, you can get a quotation, and you can also get a response, from a chatbot, for example, telling about, any time of the day and night. So that kind of computing, though we are still cautious about various, teething problem it may have. So we had opened it to only a B2B, segment, and we have converted many jewelry, entrepreneurs to have a virtual factory. We are the back-end manufacturing units for them. you know just to name, I mean, if you have an idea, you don't have to have a factory today. you know the factory can be factored. It did not be there. So we are that virtual factory. We have made a platform whereby people can order anything and they can get it, and if they want to negotiate, they can negotiate everything online. And that way, anticipation is very important part of the leadership. And I should say that today, many of the transaction we have, it's slowly increasing. The physical to virtual, the balance, there are some physical, because some people always feel happy to, come and talk and chat and, go. But largely, I'm seeing youngsters, they're adopting it very fast, and it is difficult for me to adapt to a digital platform than all of you. And so it is today, I think technology is enabling this. Had we had these circumstances about 30, 40 years back, it would have been very difficult. We had just 20 years back, we had Y2K problem, right? But that problem became a so much big opportunity. There is an explosion in the IT segment, sector. Today, even today, it is growing rich. That means converting such, adversities into advantage is very, very important. So we should never treat anything as a problem. It is a challenge. It is a challenge, and we are going to win, come out victorious out of it. And anticipating it is very, very important all the time, and that's the only way you can become some kind of future proof. And there is a lot of uh, uh, connection between the big data analytics, the IoT, the blockchain, your so-called physical, cyber physical systems, the robots, all that, the cyber security, whole thing, is all getting interconnected, because there is a symbiotic relationship between the dependencies. If I'm making a transaction, I need to know it is secure. You know, Fortunately for us today, a lot of these technologies are coming like a jigsaw puzzle, coming closer and making it, giving us confidence that yes, we can depend on it. And that's a wonderful world we are going to see in future. Back to you, Ayushi.
Ayushi, you are not audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah. So, Mr. Bhaskar, could you please share your insights on that?
Yeah, I remember the great words of Mark Zuckerberg, who normally talks about to his work FB team. Somewhere I read it in the Facebook to say that move fast and break things. That's his classic word. And the same thing that it is applying right now, as Dr. Rao was saying, that we need to adapt, we need to anticipate this is what's going to happen, and ensure that our calculations are correct. And these calculations are to be based on facts which are backed by data. So obviously cloud computing or big data analytics or AI or ML is going to be the future, and we are going to predict based on that. Even COVID is predicted by mathematical logarithms only. So we all hope for being that way. I was yesterday also, I was having some chat with our panel members when I was talking about when I visited primary district director of primary health services. She was categorical to talk about the third wave is imminent. And she was saying about not only the third wave is imminent, how we are prepared. Today, if it is oxygen, then the next wave may be requirement of ventilators, which we may not be prepared right now. Whether we want to be prepared, I don't know. We don't have an answer whether we need to be prepared. The second one is more to talk about whether we are equipped with vaccination. Yes, the current scenario is we are equipped with vaccination, but the mutant of virus, how vigorous is in the third wave, we don't know. And the variant may be exposing the guys who have been vaccinated, so we don't have a choice that we will be getting contracted to that. And the third thing she was talking about, even your medication to the COVID. Still today we don't have a medication for treatment for COVID. So whether this third wave is going to help us in terms of treating the COVID patients. So all these combinations are the preparedness that we need to have. But there is an amount of ambiguity, there is an amount of uncertainty, and what a leader has to do, be it government or be it corporate leader, we are prepared to be facing the uncertainties, unpredictables, and based on our current data, we need to be predicting that, and that's the leadership quality is going to be happening. Over to you.
Miss Ayushi, I want to add one small thing.
Sure.
So right now, the social entrepreneurship is also a thing to go, and at this unprecedented time, we should go towards the giving back to society concept. It is very important right now. And as a business leaders and as a company innovators, we should also go for the crisis management thing. And there's a one beautiful quote that I read somewhere that the secret of crisis management is not good versus bad. It's preventing the bad from getting worse. So now if we should look towards that and we should do something so that this bad should not go to the worse, it is a most important requirement of the time. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Ayushi.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul. It was a fruitful discussion for students as well as for industry people. But since we are running out of time, I think we should move to Q&A session, and audience can ask questions with our panelists.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Ayushi, for moderating the session, and thank you all the esteemed speakers for sharing your insights about the topic. Now I'd like to request all the students, if you have any question, please raise your hand, and we'll call out you to ask the question. Or you may also put your question in the chat box.
You can ask any question. It is not supposed to be the industry related only. You can ask any question or any problem that you are going to face right now, you are facing right now.
Yes, Derek, you may go with your question. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you because everything is virtual now. How do you ensure that everything remains streamlined like all the operations of the company? Because at some point you will get information from here, from one part of the company, like from the design team, from the HR team. So how do you keep everything aligned? Because you can't see what's actually happening in the company, right? Because everyone's virtual. I know you could do smoothly.
Could you get the question?
No, the voice is not clear. Can someone repeat the question?
Yeah, Derek, your voice is not clear.
Can you hear me?
Or you can, or else you can type the question. It
Okay,
will be good for
okay.
us. In meantime, anyone else can ask the question.
Yeah, Afreen, go ahead with your question.
Okay, hello everyone. Actually, my question is very particular to the industry. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. So I was about to say that we are the worst affected batch as all our learning is online. So even my internship was also online. It would be a marketing person or it would be easy for the industry.
Afrin, your voice is breaking.
Final placement. Yeah, for the
Afrin,
final
Afrin, you
placements,
can
how
switch off.
interviewers are
You
going
can
to
switch
judge
off the
us.
video. Yeah, your voice is breaking.
Okay, I'll
You can
also
switch off
put
the
in
video
chat.
to increase the bandwidth, or you can switch off the video
Yes.
and then ask bandwidth will be increased.
Yes, so Ayushi, we have received a question from Sanya. The question is, how can one maintain mental strength in a corporate environment? I would like the panelists to give some insights on this.
Okay, so Mr.
Dr. Rao,
Well, I think
please.
you're telling about mental strength. It is all about positivity and hope. and probably we have seen almost now 2 years of this crisis, right? And so there are a lot of changing, patterns in the organization also. Okay, the organizations are becoming flatter. Okay, and there are many people who are living their so-called the concept of company as a building. The concept of company as a building is also going away. So also is the fear of boss and bossism. So the organizations will become very flat. Okay, and it becomes very transactional. Everyone will be a customer of the another. So everyone will be a kind of a partner who would help you to do a thing, right? So in that sense, one can be having a kind of uh, balance with your own activities to the office activity, because you don't have to drive long hours to reach your office. You don't have to punch and justify why on a particular day punch was not registered. You know, then you should take a printout and take your boss's signature. Today it's all gone, right? And there is a the so-called policing of a herd. A supervisor and people watching and all have gone, right? We trust people now, and people are working. You know this X and Y theory of people management. We have a Z theory, where people are autonomous. They are a representative of the companies. So I think the mental strength will be much higher. You should imbibe in every employee that you are the representative of the company, because in a way they are going to take the calls of the customer. They're going to close the deal, right? And they will have freedom to close it, because that is the only way. That means we are trying to see, what could not be driven by so-called the pyramidal structure of a hierarchical thing, which was to create fear and make people act. Here you give freedom to be for the people to act. I think this is more healthier, and the mental peace will be there. But of course, there is one thing. Earlier, to some extent, there was a work-life balance. Today, you get calls all the time. You have conference, you to attend Western conference at midnight. A customer call you cannot refuse, you know, and probably people will even postpone their natural calls because they've got a long call with the customer. That means, but people still are enjoying. The amount of stress what they have has come down considerably. Physically also, moving, the traffic jams, and all those things have come down. But what will happen after you all go back? If the so-called all gets vaccinated and people go back, I don't think the many physical offices will ever work in future. If at all they want to meet, you have something called WeWork, you know, kind of organizations where you just book a kind of a table, or book a, conference room, you book a this thing and go and chat. That's it. Your appraisal, you have to go and chat with your boss. It can be a video conference like this, or you want to still meet up and you want to have a social media photograph. You may go to a hired place. They'll rent it out for some $1,000 per hour. You chat there and complete your thing, where you have all the facility. So the concept of maintaining a big building, the so-called maintenance, so-called the canteen, you know, these are all going to become kind of a thing of past. Where people are looking at new business models. And I will tell you, there is a lot of serendipity also. Serendipity is having diverse areas of focus. when you're taking your call, you're a marketing guy, okay? And when you're not, you're a writer. You're writing something because you love writing, right? Or somebody may want to paint. Like Rahul said, he wants to take photographs. Well, see, these are all things which are there. And believe me, these are going to help you to cope, because there is a lot of serendipity that flows into bring in positivity in you, you know, and that's very important. That's how one can cope up with the so-called stresses one may have. And well, don't think of stress, because if you think of stress, you get stressed. That's very important.
Huh. Coming back to this, I want to add this: do the things that you love. This is one of the important thing and one of the important lessons that we have learned in the life also. Work-life balance is a very important thing right now. Earlier, people were not that much inclined towards the work-life balance thing, but right now, since every day we are in between our work, since we are not going to offices, so at this time, do differentiation between work and the things that are not related to work is very, very important. Go easy on yourself is a very important thing. If you are experiencing any type of difficulty, if you are experiencing any type of difficulty in maintaining a routine, don't go hard on you on that. Take time out for activities you enjoy, read a good book, watch a comedy, do something you wanted to do always. Don't be focused on result orientation and all. Don't think each and everything should bring results to us. Do the things that are not related to results at all simultaneously. That is very important. If you are doing each and everything related to results, that will naturally cause stress. A lot of stress is basically because of the results that we want. If we are doing something from which we do not want any result, then we are not going to get stress. So if you are going to be a very, very professional guy, in that case you want to take results from each and everything that you are doing, and today or tomorrow sometimes you will feel fatigue and sometimes you will feel that something is not getting right. In that case, you can switch on from that particular activity to the activity that is not research oriented. You can play something, you can see something, you can watch something, you can go out, but that should not be result. If you are going out to see the new business opportunities, that will cause you stress, so that will not be considered as going out. That will be another business thing that will give you stress. So if you want to take care of your mental health right now, just do the things that you love, and try not to involve each and every time with the results and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul. Mr. Vijayabaskar, do you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I second what Rahul was saying. The same point to say about what is stress. Stress is something like what you don't like to do will cause you stress. As simple as that. Be aware that the world is empowering you. You are an empowered person. You are going to do a hell a lot of things in an empowered manner. But be cautious to say no to your boss, which is not really not going to be doable, and then get into stress. That's what it is going to cause in your corporate life. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That's very helpful. Next question is from Vineet.
Yeah, one question has come in chat box, I think.
Hi, Anbo, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear it.
Cool. My question is specific to Vijayabaskar, sir. So we all spoke about a lot of changes that has come through between March 2020 and now, right? And uh, I mean, Mr. Rao also mentioned how certain things will continue to be virtual and certain things might change depending on where we are headed and if we get vaccinated and all that. So, what do you think will sustain and is not going to change even after things go back to normal? And what do you think are currently virtual only because there are no other options available and need to go back to the way it was when it comes to work, could be something like as simple as onboarding or could be something as simple as separation. But what are the 3-4 things you think should go back to the way it was before March 2020?
Yeah, certainly there are some constant which cannot work in the way the virtual world will be thinking. For very straight example that I was giving it to you all guys to talk about whether our operations which are right now a process industry, which is a continuous process industry, we are supplying to defense and we are supplying to agriculture. And in my previous experiences, I was representing a rural finance company, which is again an emergency services that they used to call it as Aadhaar enabled payment system and the banking services, which are all essential services that are to be there. That's what uh, required, because we are not able to really immediately switch to a virtual world, or we are not able to immediately find out a solution for that. But over a period of time, maybe I was talking about a payment system which is always collected manually for the past several years. I mean, 50% we were able to achieve with a digital mode. It may happen, it may not happen in future, but it has to happen in future. But definitely it will not be all, we will come back to ground zero. The answer is no. Whether we are going to adopt the learnings that we had during this COVID pandemic and disruptive technologies that we have used for mitigating all this kind of risk, this is what a company should focus on, to talk about solutions rather than to talk about what we are traditionally all about. As what Dr. Rao was saying about, you need to anticipate, keep innovating, and we will be definitely succeeding. Certain things to some extent, say for example, I would say to my personal belief that 30-40% will be back to the same scenario of what March 2020 is all about. Some real changes that wherever we are able to do ritual, which will definitely will be continuing. For example, real estate, that's really down, as he was talking about shared workspaces. This is all going to be a reality because it is already being time untested in the Western countries, and this is going to happen in India also. But definitely, if you talk about a factory scenario, it's not going to be changed tomorrow. It will take time to a seasoned automation business, which cannot eliminate human beings immediately. That has to come normal to what I can say normal is pre-2020 March. I hope I have answered Vinit.
Yes, sir, thank you. That's really descriptive.
Thank you, sir. There is one question from Derek to all the panelists. So his question is how companies maintained smooth flow of operations in virtual mode, and also how do companies maintain data security when working from home?
So, Dr. Rao, could you please share your views on that?
Well, to some extent, I have answered this by saying the virtual factory mode, which we have a platform we have created 4 years back, and it has been working very nicely. And we have kind of central server which holds all the data, and people at different levels have permissions to operate data, and uh, data security is very important in our business. Okay, and well, I think it's very important. We don't have to police physically. On system, you can actually have a control. Today, many of our systems are controlled by the IT. Okay, if a person were to move out of the organization, with separation signed, the data will be erased on the remote systems. That kind of technology we have today. Correct, no? And so today we don't have so much of a problem to police. Okay, but of course we have great team who would rather safeguard, because in this connected world, who can escape whom, right? We're all connected. We have to stay loyal to everyone, to the boss, to the organization, to your customer, because we are going to see each other every time. right? So I'm connected to all the people, so it is very important that such things doesn't happen, thanks to technology. And and more technology will be taken to data analytics, for example. We know exactly who is doing what, that kind of thing. So that should not be a big problem. We should trust them, because we find all our employees very responsible. Okay, that is also there, which is very evident from the customer interactions they have. Endorsement, what customers gave feedback, we are very happy with that. So I think that is going to continue. And coming to what was the other question? I forgot.
Yes, Dr. Rao. So other question was how the companies manage the data security when the employees are working from home.
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, central server is important. Sometimes even we have a mirror server. So a review of your IT, network,
Systems.
IT infrastructure is very important. We were always working on a thin client where the people were not having their own local saving. Everything gets deposited in the central repository. You know, and it was more from the point of view of product lifecycle management, and it was enabling us to interact better with the clients. But today, with the remote mode also, it is extremely rewarding. So collaboration, collaborative networks, which uh, companies have developed over the years, are today paying off. And I think it is not a big problem today.
Great. I also want to add, since we are also working in the software systems and software products, so it is a very important threat for us in past 1 year. Earlier, I'm going to sum it up as uh, there were two different sources that we thought that we are going to get some threats from. First is any data attack from outside, and second is the any internal security breach. Any data attack from outside, for tackling this, we are doing the normal processes what we have done previously. Also, we are using firewalls and the encryption techniques. But the main problem was the internal security breach thing. So earlier, when people were used to work in offices, we know which data is assigned to which person and how many people can actually use which type of data. But right now all the things are going online, so we have followed the same thing. We have assigned different type of security levels to the different persons. This is first and foremost thing that we are doing. It is the same like Facebook. When you share a Facebook post, there are a public, friends and friend, and only me. So the same things are there. There are certain data that can be used by certain officials, and other amount of data that can be used by most of the people that are working, depending of the severity of the data. And apart from that, one more thing, the VPN that we are using. We are using VPN for doing any kind of work that they are doing from their from their home. So this is one of the important things. Yes. Moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, right, Rahul. I also second that. Point is, who is more intelligent, the thief or the police?
Yes.
So the way we used to have in our organization also, we used to put all this active directories and VPNs and things like that while we are enabling services to our executives. But the more the mitigation, the more the innovation also comes with the other side. So that's where it's a continuous process, I would say.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to request Sonali to take her question.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
So my question to the panelists,
We are not able to hear you.
am I audible now?
Sonali, your voice is pretty low.
Still not audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please try.
Okay, so my question to the panelist is that because the second wave of COVID-19 was completely unpredictable, so how did the leadership tackle the specific challenges that this pandemic brought upon this year?
Yeah, most of the things we've already described in the talk that we had in past 1 hour. So the thing is again that we have to manage our employees, how they are coping with the situation, and we have to manage our customers actually, how they are coming to us, and if they are not coming to us, how they will come back to us. That was the main problem. The main problem is like cash flow. You should get something, and that is related to customer, and then to maintain the workflow going with your employees. And also one of the important thing that we being a small company, we never thought earlier was the mental health of employees that we have taken care of in the past 1 year. In past 1 year, we are more, you can say, off, more work offs from the day, and we are considering the request more often than not. So earlier, if someone is asking for a leave of 15 days without any particular reason, and he or she is involved in some particular project, then we were thinking about, and it was decided on case to case basis. But in past 1 year, we are not following any rule on that. We are just following a basic thing that if someone is asking our help, we should help them. So this is if employees are not working, employees are not in good health, then no company can ever survive. That's the thing we are following right now. And again, since customer demands are changing every day, that's the main course right now. And if we are not going to the method, that digitization method that other companies are going, we will fall. So we have to change as per the market trends. Dr. Rao, you can add.
Well, I think one of the very important thing is the cash flow. And if you have a very large workforce, you are not getting money, you're not generating through projects. How are you going to stay floating? To stay afloat, we could actually negotiate and discuss with the employees, and uh, it was people were on the same board. We're all on the same floor. So we were able to find a way by which we can truncate the packages, because it is very important to cope with the situation than closure. So we were very happy to have a very large workforce, which was without any problem. Even the leave thing, leave encashment and all were kind of leaves were not looked at as a liability, while leave encashment and all were taken off the thing, because people are working from home. Okay, many of them. And if there is a even the reviews, for example, annual reviews and increments and all were also very difficult. So it was with a lot of tact, our HR has handled it, in a such a way that employees were very responsible in actually trying to manage the whole show, right? And so if at all, there are unfortunately there are some attritions which happened, because not everyone will be able to cope up with such things. Personally, they will say, okay. So in which case also, a company has challenges. You have to cope up with the attritions, and on one side, and hiring new ones also is very difficult at this particular time. And for example, if you want to seek one post, there'll be 100 people applying for it. And if you're wanting a person with a few years experience, we tend to get 15-20 years experience people applying for that.
Yes.
And it's also a bit tricky. So it has been, I think, with a lot of pragmatism, we could actually address that. And today, fortunately, the companies are working. Many of our partners are working, and we are able to have a symbiotic relationship. And some of the payment terms also we had to define with the companies, renew it. because if you have a long contract, you may want to do it. If you have a 30 or 60 days credit, you may want to review it, because how else you are going to pay salary for your employees, and that kind of very fine negotiations you need to have with your partners. Partners means your suppliers on one side, and your the companies who hire you for your service or whatever, for them also. So it is very important to have them in this together. Okay, that's how we could cope up with, and I don't think it is 100% right anytime, and it was being fair, being fair all the time is very important. Yeah, that's my take.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Now, as we know that we are running past of time and we are still getting a lot of questions. So I would like to close with one last question from Sanjay TG. His question is regarding Industry 4.0. So he asked, how could we onboard those who are already working in traditional industry or the older technologies, and like how we as a managers or entrepreneurs update the people working under us to match this skill gap?
I think this is a kind of a billion-dollar question. But I think it is true. Wherever you have human supervision, that will all go. Okay. And such people should learn different skills, skills of audit, which may be required, skills of designing. For example, the world will become virtual in many ways. Okay. One of them is mass customization. Okay. The mass customization is a kind of a regime which, who is your customer, future customer? It is a baby born today, right? The baby born today, what is the aspiration that will have? So the world is changing fast, So IC agents are going, e-vehicles are coming, and again, so a lot of changes are happening, like Vijayabaskar sir was also telling about how e-vehicles are changing IC side of the engineering. Okay, that way people would be curating, they'll be doing designing, they'll be doing programming, they'll be making the instead of training the people, they train missions, and missions will have interaction with missions, M2M communication. It we call mission to mission communication, right? And behind all this, people are there, and there is the aging population. Aging population also needs, supposing unskilled people are there, if they lose, there are different sectors which are opening up where they could be of some service, today we don't have robotics going into every aspect of these, taking care of people and all. So there will be a lot of people who are employees today working on a lathe or a milling machine. Probably they may be retrained themselves to give a caregiving, for the aging population, right? World in India, only India has the young population. There's a lot of aging population in Japan and other European countries where a highly trained, disciplined, workforce can go and extend their, the so-called employable age or employable, status by reskilling themselves. Because you cannot expect a lathe operator to take being a caregiver. This is going to be a choice they have to take. And there are a lot of such new things which will come, and you all play a very important role. Every challenge will bring a new innovation. Necessity is mother of invention. A crisis is also going to steam innovations, right? And so I don't think it will be a big problem. Coping with such loss would actually bring opportunity for those who can change. That's very important. Thank you.
Yeah, nicely said, sir. Actually, those who are not going to change, they are not going to be punished. They are going to be punished. As simple as that. That's the message that a straight message to the question who has asked. I don't know. So it is not that only the industry 4.0 is killing. Any disruption will have to have a change, and the change has to be more adaptive. If we are not adaptive by upskilling or reskilling or whatever the name you call it, as Dr. Rao was saying, that supervisors are not going to be there, that doesn't mean that mechanical engineers are redundant. They are going to be doing a role. The role is redundant rather than to talk about their education or their manifestation to that. So you have to be continuously learning. Learning is the only change, only thing that you can face the changes.
Yeah. And since we are running out of time, I'm going to add one important thing today. The employers must identify and signal the skills they need, as well as develop mechanisms to recruit, train, and retain employees. We should not think about fire employees each and every time, since business requirements are different each and every day right now. So we should not go for firing employees or not retaining our employees. We should try to, if possible, train our employees for the new skills, and that will be the way forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Anubhav.
Yeah, thank you so much all for all the panelists for taking all the questions. I would now like to request my colleague Priya to give the vote of thanks.
Hello all. Hope I'm audible, Anubhav.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ayushi. Yeah. So we would close the discussion with a vote of thanks. And first of all, Ayushi, thank you very much for moderating the panel with really interesting and thought-provoking questions. So thanks a lot for that. Now coming to Rahul, sir. So, sir, you spoke about importance of education and mentorship, and also the challenges that 2022 batch is going to face, and how they can cope with the challenges by upskilling, reskilling, and how they can be agile and adaptable to cope up with in the new normal. And thank you also for sharing your personal life experiences, which is surely going to help our students and motivate them at large in future.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now coming to Guruprasad Rao, sir. So, sir, you started on a very good note of talking about mankind, how mankind is full of hopes, and how we are going to come back to this and hit back to this with positive attitude. And thank you for speaking on Industry 4.0 and 5.0, and talking about technology, automation, data analytics, IoT, blockchain, and how they are the future, which our students should look up to. And also, thank you for throwing light on how important is resetting, relearning, and unlearning. And yeah, so and how we all need to cope up with the changes to be a great leader in the future. So thank you so much for that, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so now coming back to Vijayabaskar, sir. So yeah, I have known you, sir, for past 1 year, and it's been a pleasure, coordinating with you for the process. And yes, you spoke about how disruption is not only about, it cannot only be brought about by COVID-19, but it could be anything. And how we need to look at the positive side of it. And, how every disruption brings about new opportunities, technologies, and innovation. And, thank you for, talking about big data, AI, ML. And so this will, help our students to be prepared in the future. And thank you for speaking about leadership, how it is about handling uncertainty, people, and processes. So thank you all the panelists, and yeah, these learnings are really going to help our students to be great future leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All the best.
Yes, and the placement committee and the IS committee would also like to thank Professor Bhavin Shah sir for joining the session and giving the inaugural note.
And Anubhav, if students are having any more queries that they were unable to ask us during the time crunch, they can also email us the same. So you can coordinate with them if they are not sure about anything or they want to ask us something in future also.
Absolutely.
Sure, sir. That.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
That would be very helpful.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll get back to
Thanks
you
a
and
lot.
stay connected. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.